I'm Tabitha Derryberry. I'm from Lexington, Tennessee, and I had a kidney liver transplant at UAB in 22. I think I was on the list about 4 years, so it was a long wait for me. It didn't happen really quick, but I'm doing great now. I'm glad to be here. This is a great team, so if you're thinking about UAB, these are your people. I'm telling you now. So, yeah, it's just been a long journey, but I'm glad to be here. I'll answer any questions you have about what I went through, the wait. I had more than one center. I was on the list at 2 others. Just, anything you need about that, I will be more than happy to answer any question. Thank you.
Teresa, you going to kill me if I stand up?
No, I'm not going to kill you.
Thank you. Nothing else to do. You take this with me?
Yeah. You can.
Hold on a minute, let me get to this slide. You know how to advance it?
Hopefully it'll advance here on its own.
Oh, that's right, this is in timers.
First of all, really like to say thank you to Teresa for reaching out for this opportunity. I also owe the librarian here 45 cents if anybody wants to pay for my copies that I left on my desk. Ran out of work a little early yesterday to go to the pool with my little boys. So anyway, got a pretty cool group of people here. My family's back there in the corner. And everybody that's sitting up here, including Tab that I just met today, means a lot to me. And anyway, I've got something wrote down here I would like to share with everybody. So it's the day I got out of the hospital at UAB. It's that's in my office, by the way. It's my memo to leave at 5 every day. So a little over 2 years ago, my life looked a lot different than it does today. I was a husband to Aaron, a father to Kettner, a son to Ken and Cindy, the oldest brother of 3 Jayne boys, myself, Brogan, and Griffin. I was a grandson, a son-in-law, a nephew, brother-in-law, cousin, uncle, and a friend. And I only had a few months left on this earth to be those things. But on March 2nd, 2022, 2 years, 3 months, and 13 days ago, I was given the greatest gift any human can ever receive on this earth. My life was saved by the men and women of the UAB medical staff, completing a full liver transplant operation due to liver failure, and this operation was needed to allow me to be here talking to you guys today. On March the 8th, I was discharged from the hospital after a nearly 3-month stay, and I was instructed by this Georgia fan over here to go live my life. Instead of me being gone from this earth and being a loving memory for so many people, I've now had the privilege of burying my grandfather and grandmother. I have a niece who was born a year after my transplant to the day. My youngest brother is engaged to be married. I got to see my son graduate kindergarten. I was in the dugout when his team won their Little League championship. And on top of all that, I now have a brand new baby at home, making me the father of 2 strong boys. I've never had better, more real, and loving relationships with everyone that is important to me in my entire life. I have all these things now and in my future because the people on my team at UAB and my donor who chose to provide life for me and so many others when theirs came to an end. All the life you see up here And these pictures today share images of happiness, love, and what it looks like to be alive the way it's meant to be. The smiles you see are all in due credit to my heroes, who I want to tell you about now. My heroes come in the form of men and women who wore doctor's coats, scrubs, and N95 masks, including my two surgeons, Dr. Babak Orandi, Dr. Robert Cannon, my hepatologist, Dr. Shrag Patel from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and one of my many angels on earth, pre-transplant coordinator, Ms. Kim Rayner. All of these people saw something in me that I may never understand what it was, but I will forever be grateful to their hearts, minds, and their steady hands that ultimately gave me the life I have today. My heroes are a granddad who loved his grandson and fishing partner so much he fought off his own failing liver and eventual death to wait until he saw me return home healthy. My hero are my two parents that stayed by my side every day, putting their lives on hold, refusing to let the little boy they had raised for 36 years perish for something that they could not control. My heroes look like a 3-year-old little boy who couldn't understand why his hero was so sick, and all he wanted was for his dad to be home for his 4th birthday. My heroes look like the little blonde that I fell in love with a long time ago, who did everything she could possibly do to keep my family and my household and her husband from falling apart. And my heroes look like someone I never got to meet in this life, but who will live on inside of me and through me until the day I die. Just like part of their physical body is part of me, their soul is part of me as well. I've been searching since that day, 2 years, 3 months, and 13 days ago, for the reason why I got this chance at life. All along I've been thinking that it was just me that had been saved. But when I live each day and see the life that is surrounding me, I realize that what was done for me is way bigger than just myself. It's the fact that I'm still the husband to Aaron, a father to Kettner and Sonny, son of Ken and Cindy Jayne, the oldest brother of 3 Jayne boys, a grandson, son-in-law, nephew, brother-in-law, cousin, uncle, and a friend. And that all of those names that I am, it's because there's somebody else that makes me those things to them. It isn't an easy road that this disease lays out for anyone, no matter what the cause or the diagnosis is. And staying strong during the darkest moments of your life that this disease brings on, and believing that the people who are medically treating you are on this earth for that very reason, and surrounding yourself and allowing the people who truly love you to be your team is the only way you can get through this from start to finish. Our duties, me and Patrick and Tab, in this post-transplant second chance at life, that all of us, lucky few, and hopefully if there's anyone in this room, we'll get that chance. We can't waste it. We must live life the way it was meant to be. And what these doctors and organ donors do, they save one life, but they're really affecting the rest of the world surrounding that one person. And when you're living, that's how you wind up with a smile on your face, and everyone else around you does too. Thank you very much.
I'm going to drop it when I'm done.
Sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry.
It's a bad person here. Right.
Well, I should probably put a timer on this. When Teresa asked me to speak, I was like, oh yeah, cool. And she's like, I sent in some slides, and so I started thinking, so this is like a 3-hour TED Talk. And I didn't know what anyone else was going to say. So there's like 5 real general slides, and I'm like, I can pick any one of these and just go on forever. So I guess what I'm going to do is skirt through those 5 slides and tell you what I think is the most important, and till I beat. So here we go. My journey of liver disease, basically what I'll talk about first is just kind of what happened to me, why it happened. Then the psychological impacts, a little bit about how important the community is, and then finally the hope. As for me, my personal journey was just the feeling of something not being right, that malaise is such a hard term to define, but it's just the feeling of being unwell and tired, and didn't really care to eat much, feeling depressed. And eventually, the worse it gets, the more depressed you get. And for me, that meant alcohol a little bit more, and then more of that. And then finally just went to the doctor. It got bad enough to where, okay, I have to check this out. But, you know, as a 38-year-old male who wasn't very, very excessive, like a lot of the people that I've worked with and things like that, I didn't think it was a big deal. And then it was. I went in and they're like, oh, your meld's 15, which is, it's up there. So, you know, for me, after that, it really got bad with itching, bruising, bleeding, and the no appetite. And then nearing the end, the ascites, to where really you're just a pregnant male. And the little things you wouldn't think about, like, okay, breathing, and how do I roll out of bed? And the reason I list all these isn't just to say, oh, here's what you have to look forward to, or here's my big battle, is all of these, I could have had so much more input from people like this. And there was some. I was involved with a peer group that we had via UAB. But after transplant is where I became even more involved and realized how much help I could be, and how much people that are still suffering can be of help to me. And I think it's crucial for anyone that's going through this to speak with other people. And you know, because at first when you find out your diagnosis, you really are alone. You know, I don't know anyone with my family that had cirrhosis. If anything, I was kind of afraid to approach them. You know, how are people going to think about me? The feelings of shame and guilt, like, what have I really let my health slide to where I'm just going to die in my 30s? You know, how do you come to terms with that? And then for me, that was UAB's like, well, if it's from alcohol, if we're going to give you a liver, you know, go see this guy. We need to make sure you're not crazy and you're not just going to be a waste of that. And in there, I was able to kind of find out some root problems about what led me to do what I did. And I think when we begin to change entire lifestyles, we have to look at some of the drivers that may lead to our bad behavior. In addition, it made me more comfortable kind of talking with people like Austin. And so finding those root issues kind of led me to find support. And that support, just to talk real basically, in my group of finding support within the liver community, that's healthcare workers, healthcare professionals, you know, people like me and you, is that you have this community wisdom. hey, I'm going in for my paracentesis. What can I look forward to? And, a bee sting and then laying down for a while and maybe some albumin. Everyone there has had every procedure in my little circle. People have had TIPS procedures. Some people are for alcohol. Some people are not. Everyone's might be battling diabetes, but every walk of life. If you've had an issue with liver disease, generally there's 2 or 3 people around you that have had the same one, have dealt with it, can give you pointers that worked for them. Once again, I will state that with this disease, everyone is specific. There's not like, oh, well, if you're high in this, you take this, and no, everyone's very specific. So we're able to work with each other and kind of leverage that intellectual capital that we've all built through our own lives, and that's key. And that's not just physical symptoms, but psychological symptoms, and stress on the caregiver, or the caregiver having the stresses. I think it's important for caregivers to be involved in this as well. I found a lot of groups I'll get into that in just one moment, but community understanding, when you're feeling in the dumps, no one gets you. You can voice that to the people. They've all been there. We've all felt, at the end of the night, even with people in the room, no one understands if I talk. They haven't lived there. Community support, that's crucial. Even post-transplant, we have people struggling with weight issues and diabetes, and we encourage them. We have people that just kind of want to give up on occasion, as we all have, but you hold on to that hope and the light. For me, it was frivolous spending. If I got real down, I'd buy a fishing lure, because I had this trip in my head. When I get better, I'm going to the beach, I'm going to do this, right? And so I just never let these dreams die. The one dream I did kind of let die is, I thought, now I have cirrhosis, being like a single unmarried male with no kids. I was like, man, guess I can write that off. And, and now I'm almost 2 years. So August, Tabitha got hers the day before mine. But, almost 2 years, I'm beginning to get life back. And then Austin had a baby, and Austin's in my UAB group. And I was like, oh, well, way to go, Austin. I think it was right after the meeting, I was like, wait, Austin, that was after he had a trip. And it hit me. I can have a life. The hope is just never ending with this. And then community experience, I think I've hit on that. Just telling it, being in the family that we create, I think is just the best thing for us. Now, who is your wolf pack? I think, pardon the terrible, terrible metaphor there, but hospital groups. UAB has one. I think it was designed predominantly for alcohol recovery. That we talk about alcohol maybe 1% of the time. The rest of it's about liver-specific issues and dealing with them and encouraging each other, and really just saying, how's your grandkids? Things like that, all catching up. I'm one of the younger people in that group. Internet groups, I had a lot of support. I don't recommend Facebook for HIPAA violation, but at this point I was dying. I didn't care. I'm like, okay, find out, whatever. And after the fact, I'm the same way, because the transplant is the best thing that ever happened to me. I feel real lucky that I had to face death and overcome it early in life. I think it taught me some real valuable lessons. And so, as far as HIPAA goes, that's not my concern. So I was able to find some resources on the internet that were real helpful, and you found out about some more today. Mid-South is fantastic. I had Legacy on there, but I wasn't sure I didn't know if I was going to step on toes or anything. I had a couple more listed. Your spiritual groups, talking about churches or whatever you do. I had a lot. I'm not Buddhist, but I even went to a recovery dharma to meditate and learn about finding some root issues and thinking wisely and acting and concentrating and doing everything just wisely and not worrying. Because just worrying, you're living through things that haven't happened, or you're living in the past. And, there's just no point to that. It's not going to make you healthy. What you can do is what you can do at the moment. And that's taking care of yourself and finding out these, following the guidelines that we've talked about today. And then finally, medical staff. No one knows better. Now, they have the least amount of time. But in that time, write down your questions, have specific things. Well, Dr. Cannon obviously laughing at me. He's like, what do you mean? It's Saturday and I'm here. But I can't stress enough. Like really, the community is giving to those before and after. And this is the best thing in my life. It really is. I'm back to work. I wasn't going to say competing, but as I told Andrew, I'm going to have to change that to participating in the transplant games. Like, I'll be that's why we do it, But like as I fall across, I'm going to know, like, oh, I did it, like this is what it is. I've conquered. The hero's journey I allude to all the time, and you meet various characters along this journey. And then you come back with the light and say, oh, hey, it's not that bad. This is not a death sentence. For some people it is, but it's not even the worst. It's for me, a glorious experience. Even when I didn't think I was going to be able to attain the liver in the end, I kind of thought, hope never went away. But given, hey, I'm probably going to die, it still wasn't a terrible experience just because of the people I was able to surround myself with. And, I don't want to sound gloom and doom, but it's not. Find your light, find your core group of people that you can talk to, that respect you, that will listen. And I guess that's the best advice I have, because they're going to touch on the important stuff. So, thank you.